Welcome to Planning Nutritious Meals While Staying on Budget. Menu Planning for Assisted Living. Brought to you by American Way University. My name is Angie Danielski, and I will be your guide during this training. Our video segments will include our cooking and baking expert, Krista Bly. Krista is an expert in cooking and baking as a former restaurant owner and has conducted many courses in culinary skills. She has partnered with American Way University to bring this course to you. Krista has also taught many menu planning classes to caregivers and administrators working in assisted living. First, let's take a closer look at what Part 1 of the series will cover. We will go over introductory information on menu planning and your budget, along with common problems with menu planning. Next, we will go over dietary guidelines, including the MyPlate representation. The second portion of the presentation will cover a nutritional overview for the different food groups that we will discuss. We will start by discussing the protein group and go over what types of food are in this category. In the third section of this presentation, we will continue discussing additional food groups. We will discuss the carbohydrate group along with the fruit group. Both sections will include a video segment featuring Krista. In Part 4 of the presentation, we will continue discussing additional food groups. We will go over the vegetable group and the milk and milk products group. The vegetable section will include a video segment featuring our resident menu planning expert, Krista Bly. The fifth segment of the presentation, we will finish discussing nutritional information. We will go over oils and fats, beverages, and information on calories. In the sixth segment of this presentation, we will engage in a menu planning activity. First, we will discuss what food groups should be included with each meal. Next, we will look at one day from a sample menu from a real assisted living house so that we can identify which food groups were not included in the sample menu. In the seventh section of this presentation, we will continue the menu planning activity. We will review the menu from Sunday on Sample Menu 1 as a whole after discussing each meal in the previous section. We will then move into the menu planning video where Krista discusses the entire weekly menu. In the eighth segment of this presentation, we will discuss helpful hints when planning a menu, including storing and labeling leftovers. This will include a video segment featuring Krista. In the ninth segment of this presentation, we will look at the 9 different superfoods, which will feature a video segment with Krista. Next, we will discuss how to alter resident eating patterns and stocking the pantry. In the final segment of this presentation, we will discuss meal substitutions. Additionally, we will discuss storing food items properly. Before we get started, it is important to understand why this course can be helpful to you. Some may be wondering why it is important to learn about menu planning and budgeting in assisted living. We know that food expense is a major area where assisted living communities struggle to stay within budget. Do you take into consideration the significant impacts menu planning can have on your budget? This course is designed to help you be aware, be informed, and plan ahead to stay within budget. We are going to offer information today to help you gain greater awareness of the nutritional content that is so critical when planning meals, and then offer techniques to help you plan ahead, be resourceful, and stay within your budgeted allowance for food. With most assisted living houses struggling to stay within their food budget, we aim to help by discussing the common problems associated with menu planning. Oftentimes, houses spend far more than they should on food expenses due to lack of planning when shopping for food. Excessive waste of food is another area that can cause overspending. We have also heard from our clients that there is not a great understanding of the nutritional aspects considered when menu planning. While we want to make sure we serve meals that our residents love, we also need to take into account the nutritional content of those meals. We need to ask ourselves if, as a community, we're doing our very best to help maintain our residents' health and wellness through proper nutrition. This course will provide great insight to the nutritional aspect of menu planning and discuss many techniques to make your food budget dollars stretch farther. In order to discuss nutritional needs, it is important to understand the dietary guidelines that accompany the information presented. The United States Department of Agriculture, or USDA, publishes the dietary guidelines that help guide Americans toward healthy eating patterns. The most recent set of dietary guidelines that have been published by the USDA are the 2010 Dietary Guidelines. These guidelines are aimed to help people promote health and wellness while minimizing the risks for certain illnesses. In addition, the dietary guidelines contain information to help make smarter food choices and maximize the amount of nutrition in the food that is consumed. The USDA also published My Plate along with the guidelines in order for Americans to have a visual representation of the information presented. We will take a closer look at My Plate in the next slide. The information contained in the dietary guidelines are to promote two main goals. The first goal is to maintain a calorie balance over time to achieve and maintain a healthy weight. The second goal is to help us focus on consuming nutrient-dense food and beverages. As we get started, let's touch on the dietary guidelines and the My Plate representation. The most recent guidelines are set up as a plate to help Americans plan an individual meal and control portion sizes, which have been a major issue associated with obesity. On the left half of the plate, we see that we should fill it with fruits and vegetables, with slightly more vegetables than fruit. On the right side of the plate, we should consume slightly more carbohydrates than protein. We should try to focus on whole grains, as we will learn. Lastly, it shows the dairy group as the beverage, as drinking a glass of milk with every meal is the simplest way to get our dairy requirements. As we will discuss the importance of meal planning, we will first focus on the nutritional aspect of foods and learn more about the specific food groups as related to the dietary guidelines and the My Plate representation. This concludes the first part of the American Way University training of Planning Nutritious Meals While Staying on Budget, Menu Planning for Assisted Living.